Yo, welcome back to my channel. I'm FW Alicia. Alice, as in my favorite movie, Alice in Wonderland. I'm not a female or whatever. I'm a strong Jamaican black male. I'm not gay. Alright, moving on. I'm jumping right into this and showing you the tier list right at the start of the video, and I'll be explaining the placement of every race. Starting with Goblin. It literally gets nothing. You can eat trinkets, sell them for a little bit more since you're a dirty scammer. You can also use your senses to view trinkets around you through walls, and when you gain enough days, you'll be able to eat a trinket and spit it out. I don't know why a human being that lives on Earth would play this race other than the troll. I should have put it F tier. To the left of that is a race called Anarian. It does nothing. It was a race that was removed in Wave 1, and the little thing about these devs is that they don't remove anything, they just disable things. So some people can have unobtainable builds / races. Yes, this race is useless. Next is Kid. It used to be a meta race back in Wave, but it was nerfed to the ground and then disabled. The active that it has is maintenance, which heals you, kind of like repair from Rogue Lineage. That's pretty much all that needs to be said. Next to Kid is Dwarf. It's a pretty decent race, but it holds nothing compared to the other races in this game. With Dwarf, you're smaller, you have more carrying capacity, you're able to wear any class armor, and your enchant has 2 times the chance to proc. That's pretty much it. I would see why someone would go this race if they want to play hybrid, so they can get an ultra armor and 2 times enchant proc. Really good, but I'd rather 10% damage permanently like Florian or Terran. Next is Nova Kid. It belongs in B tier. It's a good race overall and a great race for some builds. You can charge mana faster than the sun, you take 25% less fire damage, your temperature is always the same in Tundra or Volcano, you won't get any debuffs from temperature, and you basically have homemade key blasts and a move that detonates when you apply it onto enemies, and it deals true percent damage. This is a great race and it is deserving of its spot. Next is Kaioshin. I personally hate this race and everything about it, but it deserves a spot in B tier. It has gate and a clap version that only it can have, Kaioshin exclusive. And it gets a PvP passive called Cloud Dodges that gives you 20% chance to dodge attacks for 10 seconds with a 50-second cooldown. It's S tier at the start of the game, but once everyone starts getting gate, you become raceless, in my opinion. Next is Elf. The only reason it's B tier is because why would you go if you're not mage? It gets higher mana charge, extra cast range, and an extra clap. Normally you can only get 3 claps, but Elf can get 4. And it also has a move that absorbs a spell that's thrown at you. In general, this race is basically mage lock. Next to Elf is my beloved Florian. Florian gets an essence bar, and you can use your active that sinks you into the ground, and it increases your essence bar. And once it's full, you get a 10% damage buff to your M1s. And you have a beam move that uses your essence to deal damage. With this race, you can basically just get your essence bar to full and not use the beam to have a permanent 10% damage buff in combat. It's a great race and it deserves a good spot in B tier. Alright, Cactorian. The people Milestone hate the most. My only critique with this race is that it has no passives. The only passive is that the giant cacti mob in desert doesn't attack you. Other than that, it's a race that gets 3 actives. A teleport back to Cactica, a really good PvP move that throws spikes in every direction, and a move that reflects 20% of the damage you take to your enemy. On to A tier. Lizard is well deserving of this spot, and it has a long list of passives that helps you greatly in PvP. Out of combat, you run faster, armor penetration is 20% less effective, poison deals 40% less damage to you, ragdolling an opponent with a poison stack applies another one, and you get an active that sends out a skewer that tethers to someone and they become slower, and that person takes 10% more damage in the form of bleeding, and you also get penetration against that opponent basically. That's an extreme list of abilities. You can tell it's the owner's favorite race. Next is Halo. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but anyway, you gain +1 speed in combat, and you swim 50% faster than others. And if you apply electrocution on someone, it procs your weapon enchant. Electrocution is basically something that happens once you perfect block with 4 stacks and you release the electricity, and basically you can M1 them to get a free combo. You also get a move called Sprout Spiral. That's a great combo extender. That's a great race. Obsessed is a cat race. I'm skipping over this because I haven't played the race at all personally anyway. Nomad is basically Nomad, as the race name infers. They aren't able to sleep in inns, and they get a move called Nest, which basically sets their spawn point anywhere on the map. You also get 2 moves, Fade and Flock. Fade is a counter, and Flock can be used in stun to evade attacks. It's a wonderful PvP race. Apex, the literal monkey race. You get a double jump, you are able to climb twice as fast out of combat, and you can literally carry someone while being M1. They have an active where you deal 10% more damage but take 15% more damage. The damage increase is not affected by the damage cap, so it goes above that extreme combo potential. I'm going to quickly run over the S tier since there's not much that needs to be said. Orc has plus 20 HP off spawn. When you're under 40%, you get a 20% damage buff on all attacks. When you guard break an opponent, you decrease their armor penetration and you get a guard break and hyper armor rush move. Pretty self-explanatory why this race is S tier. Their 40% is basically 50 to 55% to a normal person since they get 20 plus HP off spawn. So imagine, as soon as you touch half, you do 20% more damage. That's busted. Next is Phantom. It's my personal favorite race. It's like it was kissed by the devs. You can get an extra life, so you start off with 4 instead of normal 3. You have infinite hunger, and food is kind of annoying, so this is great. If you inflict bleed or your final M1, you will apply anti-heal. Another passive it has is if you M1 someone with anti-heal, the duration of the anti-heal is increased. Broken. And it has an active called Fright that inflicts a small amount of insanity and slows them down, basically giving you a free combo. This is a wonderful PvP race, and if you have a great build, it can be the best race possible. Same with the other race in S tier. And a fun fact about inflicting that little insanity, it's the only move that does that. And if people run a relic called, if I'm not mistaken, it's called like Lunatic. If somebody runs Lunatic and you use Fright on them, they instantly die. Next is Avian. I hate that bird race, but the bird race can whoop my ass easily. I ain't gonna lie to you. You get a 0 gravity above 50% mana. You get a speed boost if you land a projectile, and you have a really good move that basically jumps up in the air and throws 3 feathers at someone, and you float for a little bit after. You have a passive that resets that cooldown of that move after you land your final M1. With this reset passive, you start noticing how good the race can be just off of that. Last but not least, Terran. Terran is one of my favorite races. You gain EXP and alignment faster, so you can min-max builds really quickly. And every day you get something called a bond, which increases your swing speed and damage by 1% and caps out at 10 bonds. So this is literally permanent 10% damage and crazy swing speed. Your active burns one of those bonds and makes it so you cannot get knocked for 10 seconds. By the way, you can also spam those bonds since Indomitable Spirit doesn't have a long cooldown. So you can pop it out one tap and never get knocked, run away when it's about to wear off, pop it again, and you have 10 bonds worth of doing that. The only downside is having to gain a day when you lose a bond. In my opinion, it's the best race. That'll be all for this tier list. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I like keeping it real with y'all real quick. Peace out. Have fun, y'all.